Title: Tom and Jerry, Chore Day for Thomas. Summary: Grandma hands Thomas a chore list and Grandma goes out to run some errands. Soon Thomas breaks everything in the house. Then Grandma returns. Plot: Thomas is sleeping in the kitchen. Grandma is knitting sweaters in the living room. Grandma shouts for Thomas. Then he wakes up with a lackadaisical attitude and Grandma hands Thomas a chore list that is 3 feet long. Grandma expects that the chores are to be completed by the time she is done with her grocery store trip. Grandma grabs the shopping bags and she jumps into the SUV. Grandma then drives off and Thomas secretly mimics Grandma. Thomas conscientiously reads over the chore list. Thomas then screams in horror when he realizes he has to complete 87 chores in 1 hour. Thomas then screams with anger and mutiny and he rips up the chore list. A second later a hologram of Grandma appears and it says the following: Thomas, you ripped the chore list. You are in trouble. Thomas screams with fear and he embarks on his bike to the grocery store. Thomas then has the audacity to pop Grandma's tires, leaving her stranded at the supermarket. Thomas then races home and he starts the chores. Thomas goes to the bathroom with TNT. He blows up the toilet. Thomas then goes around the house with very little prudence. He smashes everything in the house to dust. Thomas then has the intent of doing something evil. Thomas grabs dynamite and he blows up Killer's doghouse. Thomas then grabs Jerry. Jerry then gives Thomas depiction of what will happen when Grandma returns. A few seconds later Thomas screams in anger and he eats Jerry. Then Jerry kicks the bucket. Grandma calls Thomas. Thomas then smashes the living room TV. He then picks up the phone. Grandma barks at Thomas and she rankles and rebukes Thomas by saying this: Thomas, 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 you are in so much trouble when I get home. I had the inkling you were up to something bad, especially when I saw all 4 of my tires were popped and a chainsaw was left in one of the tires. Grandma squeezes her hand closed and her phone explodes. Thomas then runs around the house fixing the items he destroyed. When finished, Thomas has made a bigger mess than when he started fixing things. Thomas then takes out a chainsaw and he goes around the house and smashes everything in profuse amounts. Thomas then roars in anger and he starts axing the drywall. Thomas rips the drywall in half and he eats it. Thomas runs to the grocery store and he confiscates Grandma's SUV. There were new tires on the SUV. Grandma screams in anger and Thomas crashes the SUV into a grocery store. He then runs home and Thomas welds the front door closed. Thomas makes sure the house is in a slovenly order. Back at the grocery store, Grandma pulls her SUV out of the store and she floors it to the mansion. Back at Grandma's mansion, Thomas is joyriding a lawnmower in the middle of the street. Thomas drives the lawnmower into the neighbor's car and Thomas runs home. Thomas and his equally bad friend take dirt bikes out and they drive throughout the mansion. Grandma is N0W 4 minutes from the house. Thomas and Butch scream with horror when they open a tracker and track Grandma's location. Thomas screams like a monkey and he roars louder than Godzilla. Grandma is now 2 minutes from the house. Soon the mischievous cats cause the mansion to collapse. Grandma speeds up when she sees a stack of smoke coming from her mansion. Thomas and Butch skinny dip into the neighbor's pool and they drink gallons of a certain beverage. Grandma arrives home and she sees a massive smoke tower coming from the mansion. Grandma drives off and she returns with multiple pieces of weaponry. Then Thomas and Butch run back to the mansion and they see Grandma. Thomas and Butch scream in horror and Grandma exits her car. Then the atmosphere goes from serene to chaotic in 2 seconds. What happens next?